Welcome back to The Boys in the Iceberg, the podcast where we watch where we watch The Legend of Korra. As always, I'm Caleb Bader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
And yeah, that's right. We are all done with Avatar: The Last Airbender. And we're moving on from it to bigger and better things.
Well,
greener pastures.
Well,
on the other side.
that last part's right.
Yeah, so we started watching Legend of Korra. First 2 episodes this week.
And I had a good thing going, but my head just...
Do you want to stop?
No, go for it.
You want to keep going?
I lost my train of thought.
You want to edit this podcast out?
It was a good train of thought, but it just... right off the train track.
Yeah, so we watched Legend of Korra, and I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt so far. I think I have to.
We're gonna muster up enough courage to soldier on through this.
A fair showing, because it's not a bad show.
No,
definitely not.
No, it's visually it's great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think, from remembering my first viewing and first and only viewing, I don't think the choreography is as good as Avatar was.
I don't know. I like the choreography in this. I will say that. I did think that it was cool. It's different. It's a lot different, definitely.
I'm not sure how I feel about it so far, but for me, this is only my second viewing, and this is only your second viewing too.
Yeah, that's true.
And you didn't get to watch the last season?
No, I have not.
So when we get to the last season, guys, he'll be in for a treat.
Yeah, because I've never seen it.
I'll also kind of be in for a treat because I probably only remember one thing from it.
Oh yeah, but don't bring that. Okay, you're already getting.
We're not gonna talk about it now.
Yeah. So we watched the first 2 episodes. What were those episodes?
Welcome to Republic City, and A Leaf on the Wind, or something like that.
A Leaf in the Wind.
A Leaf in the Wind.
Yes.
All I'm picturing is Alan Tudyk from Firefly.
Don't bring up Firefly.
No, go watch Firefly.
Okay, so we're gonna do things a little bit differently this second season of The Boys in the Iceberg, and we're gonna start off with a little synopsis of one of the episodes.
Yeah, all right. Didn't realize you were gonna do that.
What do you think we were gonna do it?
No, I mean I knew we were gonna do the beginning, but I didn't know you were.
Of course,
introduce that. I was just gonna dive right into it.
Do you want to talk more about like Korra as a thing?
No, like let's just punch the overview out real quick, and then we can.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was doing.
All right, so, well, do you do you want me to read the introduction to the whole series or the overview?
I want you to read whatever you wanted to read for this podcast.
Well,
you've been for weeks.
I had planned to read the overview.
I told you to prepare something.
No, I planned on reading the overview, but then clicking on the Wikipedia, there's an introduction, which is her voiceover introduction that she gives for the first.
Let's do it then. Her voiceover?
Yeah.
Isn't it Tenzin?
Yeah, no, it's Tenzin. You're right. Tenzin's voiceover, which is voiced by J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, go ahead and read that. That's probably good.
All right, so the show starts out. After Aang and his friends brought the 100-year war to an end, the Avatar and Fire Lord Zuko transformed the Fire Nation colonies into the United Republic of Nations, a society where benders and non-benders from all over the world would live together in peace and harmony, Republic City being its capital name. Avatar Aang accompanied many remarkable things in his life, but his time in this world came to an end, and thus, the Avatar cycle began anew.
Was broken.
Was broken. He died. I wanted to say he was just brutally murdered. Like, I didn't want him to pass away in his bed. I didn't read the comics, so I don't know how he dies.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he die in the comics?
I would say that it would.
I don't think so.
At least be alluded to in the comics.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't read them.
No, continue.
Okay. So the general overview for this whole episode is as follows. After Avatar Korra completes her firebending training, the Order of the White Lotus decides she is ready to start learning the last element, air, with Tenzin, Katara's son. However, when the airbender has to postpone training to his political duties in Republic City, Korra decides to run away there in order to find him and commence her training. Once there, the Avatar learns the reality of Republic City, and after defeating some gangsters who abused a man, she is detained for the destruction she had caused. Tenzin, after conversing with Lin Beifong, the chief of police, succeeds in freeing her and plans to send her back home. However, after Korra discusses her stay in the city, she convinces him to allow her to live in Air Temple Island and start the training. So in that, we've been introduced to Korra, Tenzin, Beifong, and Republic City.
Yeah, so we start off with them finding Korra, right? Like the White Lotus Society?
Yes, they had gone around to numerous homes. I don't know where she was from, the southern or the northern Air Temple. I can't remember.
I'm pretty
Or
sure
water
she's Southern.
Southern tribe. Oh my lord,
She's Southern Water Tribe.
she's Southern.
Yeah.
So they were at the northern one, and the White Lotus group shows up and says, "Hey, listen, we've had plenty of calls or whatever saying that people have the child of the Avatar, or the Avatar child.
The child of the Avatar.
Yeah, the Avatar child that is the new Avatar, and none of them have been true. So what makes your claim any different?" And she's like, "Well, she's actually the Avatar." And then not Katara. Oh my lord, I want to do that so many times in this show. Korra busts open the wall of Earth, and not only does she Earth bend, she fire bends and water bends as a small child. So she's pretty good already.
So why do you think that the White Lotus Society didn't do it how they did, like Aang and everybody, where they go with the objects of previous avatars? They just wait for them to like show bending skills now.
I don't know. I don't like you're saying like they had the
Yeah, they had a whole system in place where like the priest or whatever would like test kids to see if they were going to be the Avatar or not.
Yeah, but did they test Sozin or not Sozin? Roku?
Yeah, they definitely tested him.
Well, because remember when he was doing his thing with Sozin, and then out of nowhere they just showed up and like, listen, you're the Avatar, man.
Yeah, because they knew at that point.
So they had done testing previously to all babies born on that day when the Avatar died.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably they
I
did
think
that
it's seamless. Avatar dies and the baby's born.
No, they probably kept like because they didn't test Aang until later. They didn't test him until he was older, but they probably take all the like the water benders, say in Korra's case. They would have taken the water benders born on the day that he died and then kept track of them and later on in life tested them. But now it seems like they're just waiting for the bending to manifest or something.
It seems as if they're really inconsistent because they might have tested Roku at a very young age, but they revealed to him on the 16th birthday, which I think was the traditional way to do it. And then Aang, they tested really early on, and we're going to wait till the 16th birthday, but told him very early on because of the war. And then Korra, they're just like, dude, if you can bend more than one element, you're the new Avatar. If your birthday aligns with the death of the Avatar and you can bend more than one element, it's you're the. I shouldn't have brought up the first point because nobody else can bend more than one element, right?
Yeah, I do like how they did like some of the stuff with Korra because it shows her as a kid bending these elements, and then it transitions to her being almost a fully realized Avatar, having mastery of the three elements that she knows.
Yeah, so we skip over the whole training montage immediately. Like it's just, hey, here's your Avatar. Here's the main character that you're going to get for this show. And they introduce her really well, this hot-headed character that's very full of herself and very arrogant. Because when they first show her, the first words are, "I'm the Avatar, you got to deal with it."
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to bend the three elements she knows. Now, I don't know why she doesn't know how to airbend.
Well, because that's revealed, I think it's a big part of the next episode is that airbending is just difficult for her for some reason. Like it's just opposite of what... And I think it might be a part because this is one thing I really did like, and why I like that she could bend earlier on, whereas the other avatars hadn't been able to. I liked that they said that she really has the physical side of bending down, but she can't quite get the spiritual bending. And I think that's a big part of why she can't airbend because it is such a heavy... It's probably the most spiritual of the bending styles, I would say.
So did you go back and rewatch these two episodes?
I got through... the first one. I'm almost done with the first one.
Because I know yesterday when we watched it, we did a lot of discussion, and we actually stopped in the middle of the second episode and had a completely off-topic subject discussion. But,
with these, like Avatar, I've seen it enough that I could sort of like, basically, I could talk with you during it and like joke around and stuff and still have a general idea of what's going on. But yesterday, I did not retain hardly any of the information.
No, and
so the second episode is going to be real hard to get through.
A couple things were jarring to me. I don't like the White Lotus group or clan society. I get that wrong every time. I don't like them right now. I don't think they hold a prevalent force in the show itself. They might in Republic City, but not in the show. Like it's just a few lackeys and then three. I don't even think we've got names for them. 3 guys that came and find Korra.
No, one of them is kind of like Iroh reminiscent. He's short and fat and old, but that's a cool thing. I do like the direction they've gone with the show, kind of in a way. Obviously, I wish that it wasn't taking place in the 1920s, But
Yeah, the era is something I don't agree with. I mean, that's not.
but it is historically accurate.
Yeah, that's fine. The whole like the steampunk idea and stuff like that. Like I like how they play off of things like the Sodomobiles instead of automobiles.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. Sodo's a name, but I don't like that era. I enjoyed the Asiatic, traditional historical stuff like that, like the ancient Chinese place like that. I loved that era, that aspect of the show of Avatar, and that's one of the things that made it immersive for me because I don't know, they didn't have technology that they could, they weren't driving around cars and stuff. Like I don't know, I enjoyed the Avatar era better.
Yeah, I get it. But I do like some of the stuff they've done with the show. Like even though I don't really care about the White Lotus Society right now, it is cool that they've got like a base of operations set up specifically for training the Avatar, and they've like taken that on. So it's not just like a nation by nation thing anymore.
Yeah, they've expanded themselves. But to me, when they first showed up on the screen for Korra, I remember watching it first time. Shows do this often as it progresses through like the storyline. They take something that was once impactful, like the White Lotus Society. Throughout all 3 seasons of Avatar was secretive, and you didn't get very much of it. And in the last episode, you got all these characters that you'd already been introduced to that had names, and they were unique benders or unique masters of some sort. And then in this one, you get like just 3 random dudes, one who is recurring throughout that episode. But I don't think we're given names.
No. But
to me, it's just less impactful as a society. It's no longer #not my White Lotus.
I
don't know.
No, but the White Lotus Society isn't important. Like the people of the White Lotus Society aren't important. The White Lotus Society and what they're doing is important because they after like what happened with the Fire Nation and everything, they've taken the Avatar away from the tribes and created their own thing with it. And so that now they're relegating what's going to happen with the Avatar.
I guess I can see that, but sorry. I don't know. Back off the White Lotus here for a second. We get introduced to Katara very early on. She's the only person there at the Southern Water Tribe. What do we establish that one?
Yeah,
at the very beginning, who is overseeing Korra's training, and she is very old. So we get old Katara. I think we get remnants throughout this show of like callbacks to Avatar, which is cool. But they try to mainly focus on Korra, and I like that a lot. Like they knew what they had. They were going they were confident in their show, and they were going on with that. But then they're like they speckled in a little bit of callbacks to the old fans, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, and Katara has a not a big role, but I like that they did put her in there.
I don't think she needed a big role either.
No, yeah,
like it wasn't. It's not her show anymore.
I get it.
Yeah, I think
that's what we have to keep in mind going forward with this. It's not the same show, so we have to sort of keep an open mind with it because there are legitimately things that I do really like about it that I wish Avatar would have done more.
Yes, I wish we weren't only into the second episode so I could talk more about it because there are a lot more things that open up and develop in the show, like the villains. Just a broad comparison here. The villains, in my opinion, for Korra are so much better than the villains in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I will say that now, and I'll probably say it every single episode until we're done with Korra.
Okay, yeah, we did talk about that yesterday when we were watching the episode, but I don't know now because I was thinking about it. Like you have this like contained story in Avatar: The Last Airbender where you've got however many months or whatever to fight the main bad guy that you're going to bring Harmony back. So it's a progression, and I don't think that the Fire Lord really even matters. I don't think that his purpose is to be a great villain because you've got characters like Zuko who
was a villain and then an anti-hero and then a hero.
But then also I think that the real like a lot of things they're just trying to they're going to go fight the villain and beat the bad guy, right? I feel like with the Fire Lord, it was never about beating him. It was about how you beat him because that was a big point for the last couple of episodes was not only do I have to take down the Fire Lord, but I have to do it in a way that I'm good with it morally. And I think that adds an extra layer to the villainry because he is just a straight bad guy. There are no redeeming qualities about him. But Aang still has to struggle with the best way to take him down.
I understand that, yeah. But I mean, boots on the ground bad guy was obviously Azula. And
Yeah.
we're gonna phase into talking more about Korra, but right now we've got 2 episodes in, so we're gonna do comparisons for now. Azula, and she was clearly the bad guy throughout the 2nd season and 3rd season. But I think once we got a little hint of him in this first episode. It's almost like an anarchist thing. They're like saying there's some dude in the streets, like preaching to this small group of people, saying what's wrong with benders, how they lord their bending abilities above us, and there's a lot of
It's very reminiscent of like communism, because at one point they even refer to the benders as the oppressors and they're keeping the working class or the non-benders down.
Mm-hmm. And
that's one of the first things that Korra comes across in the city.
Yeah, as soon as she
we should probably back up and talk about that a little bit.
So Korra stows away on this ship, and then as soon as she gets to Republic City...
Well, hold on. We got to back up even further.
Whoa.
Because, and I think you probably said it in the overview, but Tenzin comes down to train her in air, because air is the only one she hasn't had left.
Yes.
But apparently Tenzin, he can't stay and train her. He has to go back to Republic City because he's like a councilman. So she's going to have to wait. And she ends up not waiting because obviously she's not going to do that.
That's not her style.
And Katara, as Korra is trying to sneak away in the middle of the night, Katara shows up and does your favorite thing in TV, where I'm not going to stop you. I know you have to do what you need to do.
I don't know if that's to instill a certain you're no longer sneaking out aspect to the main character. Like, it's no longer a bad thing that you're sneaking away from all this.
I think it's just another excuse to put Katara.
Because it happens so much in film. Like, somebody goes to escape from their duties to go into a higher role, and so I think it's Katara showing up and be like, listen, you don't have to worry about us anymore. Like, go on and do your thing.
Yeah.
But it's always, I'm not gonna stop you. Like, it builds up this tension. Like, you think Katara's gonna stop him, but it's supposed to make you feel that way, and then Katara doesn't stop him. And I don't know. I never liked it in anything I've watched. It's a really a hallmark moment. I've never enjoyed it.
Well, that's one of the things that Korra says in that moment, is that I've got to go pursue being the Avatar the way I need to. And Katara, having firsthand experience with that, I think she kind of gets it.
Yeah, she understands.
But we also do get a little. There's just like a throwaway line that they don't really talk about, but it's very impactful. Is that Katara says that her brother is dead. So in this universe, Sokka is no longer with us.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we don't need to talk about that.
We'll get to something else in a minute. So she goes on her way, and she has a polar bear dog, which is her version of Appa.
Oh, and so the polar bear dog. Now you mentioned this, watching it the second time, there's this big like emotional moment where she's running away on her polar bear dog, and she's just like going out on a ride or something, and the music swells up, and it's like she's free now. I wish they would have spent more time, like, keeping her captive. The first couple episodes should have been her.
Like, it wasn't emotionally impactful that she was leaving?
Yeah, because they did it so early on, and you could tell that that's what they were going for, because the music swells up, and it's, like, all triumphant and everything. But I don't feel like she's just trapped there. So if the first couple episodes were her struggling inside of this compound, I feel like it could have hit a little bit better.
It would have hit a little bit better to you if you would have just recently watched Rage.
We don't need to talk about that.
It's such a bad movie.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways,
we're trying to talk about Korra.
Yeah, so Korra runs away, right? She ends up stowing away on this steamboat.
To go find Tenzin.
Yeah, to go find Tenzin at Republic City. And in the middle of Republic City, or like off in the middle of the water, is Air Temple Island, which is where Tenzin and his family lives, they are the only airbenders.
So the Fire Nation colonies, that's not an actual air temple. There wasn't an air temple there, right? Because we didn't go to all of them, did we?
All the air temples?
Yeah. In Avatar.
I have a map here somewhere I can pull up real quick.
Because, and I wouldn't say that it would be, because why would it be an island? But, so they've created a new air temple. Well, I mean, because the one of them is home, or maybe still be home to the Mechanist, and whoever else is there.
You think
probably
he's still?
Not.
You think he's still
No, he's not alive, but it's still taken over by them, or out of use. And then the Eastern Air Temple or the Western Air Temple is destroyed, basically. by Sparky Boom Man. The Southern
And
Air
that was
Temple.
the one that hung upside down, right?
Yes, the Southern Air Temple. That's probably still there, right?
That's the one where Aang did his stuff.
That's the first one.
That
we
one
go
wasn't
to.
destroyed. I mean, well.
So did we
No, that
go?
one wasn't
Oh, we
destroyed.
did go to the Eastern Air Temple, or what's the Northern Air Temple?
I'm trying to figure out where these things are at.
You should probably hurry up with that.
Here we go. Well, none of it's loading in good quality.
Got anything?
No, this quality's trash. Okay, so yeah, we have the Eastern Air Temple, and the Southern Air Temple, and the Western Air Temple, and
the Northern Air Temple. I know the names of the temples. I need to know which ones are still in commission. It's we could probably say that this is a new temple that they've set up.
I don't see a Northern Air Temple.
Kind of in the base of the free world now. I don't see it. Okay, so this Air Temple Island, that's what it's called, right?
Yes,
So-
in Republic City.
Yeah, Tenzin and Pema, I think is his wife's name.
Pama.
I think it's Pema.
I don't know.
And then Janora, which is a daughter. She's an airbender.
Janora and
Iki?
Iggy.
Is it Iggy? Or Iki? I thought it's
I think
Iki.
Is it
I think so. I don't know. It doesn't really
Icky
matter.
or Iggy? And then Milo.
Milo
It's
and
Milo.
Otis.
It's Milo. He's the worst.
Yeah.
I do not like him.
I just don't feel like we already get all these characters in the very first episode. And like basically the characters we got in the first episode of Avatar was Katara, Sokka, Aang, and Zuko.
But we do get introduced to a lot of. You're right.
There's a ton of
I didn't think
characters.
about that. We the first 2 episodes we get introduced to all of our main characters.
Yeah. It feels it's a little overwhelming.
Minus like 1 or 2.
Because we get introduced to Lin Beifong, and
I didn't take that away from it. Like obviously, I do take away we got introduced to Lin Beifong. I didn't get that it was overwhelming. But to me, it wasn't overwhelming. The second time, maybe the first time it might have been. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. It's why it felt off kilter to me. I'm not sure.
I just feel like because it's such a bigger show, really, than Avatar. Because like literally, we got introduced to 4 main characters. Well, I guess Iroh kind of, but okay, still 5 main characters.
So we're not going to count Katara as a main character, but she does.
Oh, in Korra.
the show.
I was like,
in
Avatar?
in Korra.
You're not going to count Katara?
I hate Katara so much. I'm ignoring her existence. No, in Korra, she was there for a little bit. So we have Korra and we have Naga, which
Naga doesn't count.
Plays a very minute role. I hate that so much.
I feel like they just did that because it's the Avatar. It's got to have like this different pet.
Well,
I don't need that.
I can't remember what season it is in, but we do get a reason for that later. But no spoilers. I won't say anything. So then we get Korra, and then we get Beifong, which she does play a role throughout the series, and then we get Tenzin and his wife
Milo, Ikki, Janora.
Milo,
Milo,
Milo, Iggy, and Janora, and then we get and Pam is pregnant, so that's another child.
Anon.
Amon.
Is it Amon?
It's Amon. It's right
Okay.
there. Amon.
Oh,
Amon. Did we get introduced to him in the second episode or the first episode? It's the second one, isn't it?
No, we see the poster because it's the like the rally or whatever.
So you think he'll be the bad guy because he's the face behind what this guy is rallying about, and
He's like got like this weird mask on too. You
And
don't,
they
you don't wear a mask if you're up to good.
yes,
Like,
and they automatically vilify Korra in front of that. So you kind of put 2 and 2 together, saying, all right, maybe this Amon guy is not a cool character. Maybe what's going on in Republic City, maybe this strife is.
'cause it's not like they don't like really spell out exactly what the conflict is, but you do get the sense that some of these benders, or that a lot of the non-benders don't like the benders because they feel like, well, we can do things that you can't do.
And we get a piece of that with the triads.
Yeah,
We do. When they introduce this small little gang called the Triads, which are probably not small.
they're the triple threat triads.
Triple Threat Triads. My bad. TTT, bro.
So this is
Was the 20s the age of alliteration, or was that further on in their life?
what are you talking about? The age of alliteration? I don't feel like that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Newspaper headlines.
It's probably
stuff like
better
that.
the alliteration age because it's alliteration.
I hate you so much. But anyways, so that's funny. So we get introduced to these triads, and like I said in the overview, Korra immediately does not like these guys because they're gangsters and they're bullying non-benders for protection. Like, hey, you're gonna pay us.
Yeah.
If you don't, we're not gonna be able to protect you anymore.
Yeah, it's basically just gangsters. That's all they are.
Well, I can't remember if their story gets fleshed out at all, but it would have been really cool if the gangsters would have had their overarm.
I can't remember if there's any like gangstery stuff that comes back.
Like if they would have been the thugs throughout the entire series. Like there's always that constant threat of the I think that would have been cool. But,
and at that point, Korra is already, and it's a kind of a cool fish out of water tale, like a literal fish out of water because she does catch fish at one point. And then she finds out that everything's in Republic City is different. Like there's like homeless people. She runs in. She probably never seen like a homeless person before because she lived in like this remote, or really she lived in a compound for most of her life. So she doesn't have any idea of like the outside world at all.
Everyone has a role. Everyone has a home.
I really wish they would have hit on that a little bit more. Like if they would have sort of kept her in that compound for some episodes, and then it would have felt like, oh wow, the world's so much bigger than I thought it was. I think they missed an opportunity. But so she's on the run for long, and then she runs into the triple threat triad.
I think this whole show was a missed opportunity.
Probably,
and that bothers me.
I keep an open mind. But the Harley, what did the triple threat triads do?
They get their butt kicked by Korra.
Yes, they do.
This is for the non-benders in Republic City, their first experience with the Avatar, apparently. Because the triple threat triads, they all bend fire, and, no. Do they?
No, that's why they're the triple threat triads, because one of them's a firebender, one's an earthbender, and one's a waterbender.
Okay, so Korra immediately bends every single one of the elements in defense of what they bend at her from offense. And
so
the people
there's
on the side are
two people over there like watching like, wait, she's a waterbender and an earthbender?
What?
Is she bending fire now? They're like, oh yeah, she's the Avatar.
It's a comical reveal for the Avatar, but then she immediately after she kicks their butts, she's clearly done some property damage.
Oh yeah, she destroys there's a clock shop that they run their car into, or no, she hits the clock shop with her fists, or earthbending or something like that.
There's a mess. There's a path of destruction where they were at in this small little street. And then we saw earlier when we were introduced to Public City all these blimps flying above, and then now we get with the airships. It's like a callback to the airships from Avatar. Like I said, remember how that was supposed to be an impactful scene? From Avatar, it just feels just flat now.
Well, see,
which is fine. They've progressed, but
I get it because it is like 70 years in the future. So all these things that were impactful are just kind of like everyday life for people.
Yeah,
so I understand.
I mean, it makes sense. I just don't.
If you hadn't watched Avatar before this would probably be like you'd probably be really into it, right? You think so?
Maybe. If Korra was the first show I watched, which I can see that because, again, hey, first episode of Korra, we're gonna dive right into these Star Wars comparisons.
No, we're not.
We are the prequels.
If you watch when
the prequels came out,
I love the Phantom.
We were raised on the prequels.
Yeah.
Like that's how young we were, and like those were my first big, like atmospheric moments for the Star Wars. And I'm like, I love these movies, and I'll defend them. But they've got flaws, but I'll defend them. And I think
they don't.
I think if Korra was the first one I wanted, you're right. If Korra was the first show in this universe that I watched, then I would probably like it a lot more.
Yeah.
Obviously, Avatar would be the better one. I can accept that. Like to me, the original trilogy as a whole is better than the prequel trilogy.
My favorites are still prequels, though.
We still get Duel of the Fates in the prequels.
That's true. Moving on from Star Wars.
Back to the blimps.
Yeah, so the blimps show up, and what do the blimps contain?
They have a police force in Republic City, and apparently, again, one of those impactful scenarios that are no longer impactful.
But see, I think that's the point of them.
It's full of metal benders.
That's the point of it now, because that was a really impactful scene. We're like, oh, Toph can metal bend now. That's never been done before, and now. Like, their metal bending's a regular thing.
But it was introduced from Toph. Like, Toph did bring it to Republic City.
Yeah, maybe.
And, we see a metal statue. Shut your mouth. We see a metal statue, and her daughter, Lin Beifong, she's like, oh, hey, you're Toph's daughter, is, like, the chief of police. Yeah, the head of the police force.
We get introduced to Lin Beifong when the police force shows up, and they've got, like, their wires that they're metal bending around that they're like handcuffs. And they wrap up the triple threat triads. And they say, oh, Korra, you're under arrest also, because you destroyed half the city.
Yeah, like you destroyed all these shops. That's public property, which is, enforce the little laws, make the big laws. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
so then we see Lin Beifong interrogating Korra, and it's ostensibly Toph's daughter.
So we're introduced to yet another character. I think we're at 7 now. Yeah,
Quite a bit.
So then Tenzin gets a call or some nonsense, and he comes in and I don't know, post bail for
He's
Korra?
he's a councilman, so he's like, hey, I'm going to train the Avatar. You can let this one slide.
But you get a little tension there between Lin and Tenzin, and you're just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And then J.K. Simmons is
The voice of Tenzin.
amazing. I don't know if I can say is always a win. I don't know if that's.
No, don't.
I don't think dialogue is copyrighted.
No, but yeah, Tenzin shows up and he's like, okay, Korra, come back with me. And I think this is the first time that he knew Korra had, like, stowed away, right?
Yes.
That's the first time he knew she was in Republic City.
Like the first he'd heard of it. Yes, you're right, I think. And so he goes to put her back on another ship and send her back home and wait for him to get done with what he's doing, because I think I'm going to put a new perspective, I haven't seen the rest of the show.
Yeah.
I think what's going on with this show is that Amon is such a huge player in Republic City that right now, because they don't give you a reason why Tenzin is dealing with things in Republic City,
Yeah,
that he
that's
can't
true.
train the Avatar. But I think what it's foreshadowing to is that, hey, Amon's a huge character. I'm dealing with this right now. There's a lot of anarchy in the streets and whatnot, and a lot of rallying and protests, so we got to deal with that. Avatar's got to wait. So he tries to deal with that politically. And that's why she has to wait. So he puts her back on a boat to send her back home.
It's a giant steamboat on a giant dock in like this. We pointed that when we were watching it. It's a massive dock.
Yeah. It's huge. So they go back home, or she goes to go back home. But there's that last minute change of heart for no apparent reason.
Well, no, because he's traveling on his boat to Air Temple Island. He looks at the statue of his father.
I guess I just missed that.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my eyes, since I missed that scene, to me it made no sense when he's just like, I guess you can stay.
He's like, oh well, this is technically my dad, so maybe I should
that's
train
fair.
her. And so yeah, he's kind of has an emotional moment where he's like, I need to do this. This is the most important thing.
So now Korra is on Air Temple Island with Tenzin and his 3 children and his wife. And again, the only airbenders. There's 4 airbenders in the whole world, which is neat.
It's cool.
There's a cool concept here that they mention Avatar Aang's children earlier. Katara does.
I don't think they really go into any detail though, so no
No,
spoilers.
I'm not going to. But so they've had kids, right? And at least, visibly what we've seen so far in the first 2 episodes, at least one of them is an airbender.
Yeah.
And then we get Tenzin, who marries a non-bender, Pema. And they have 3 airbenders. So apparently bending is a
recess. I don't. Yeah, something. It doesn't.
what am I trying
you
to
don't
say?
have
Not
to,
recessive trait.
You don't have to have both parents benders to bend.
Yeah.
Which we've got that
Aggressive
before,
trait?
right?
Is that what it is?
Well, of course, because Katara, and none of her parents were benders, so it's like a recessive trait.
It's fair.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's neat. Like they there's some continuity in here at least.
And I think this episode ends with we do get to see Amon like in the flesh.
Yeah, we get let's mask.
Or yeah, okay, but
I couldn't remember if that scene where he does the head over his shoulder thing. I couldn't remember if that was the first season or second or first episode or second episode.
Yeah, they set this up straight away. Like you know what's going on. But then Korra, she gets on the mic and does a press conference, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't feel like they set her up or anything. Like, they didn't give her cue cards or anything. They're just like, go up there and say some things.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna be like the force for peace and justice or something like that. No, why don't you train first and then you can announce that you're gonna be a cop or peacekeeper or whatever.
Well, because they immediately bombard her with questions. They're like, are you going to focus strictly on the gangsters? Are you going to focus on Amon? Are you here to fix political strife? Are you here to just train? Or they bombard her with all these questions. And she's like, I'm just here to do things. We'll figure it out on the way.
Yeah, and so that's when we get to see Amon, because his men and him are watching the broadcast, and he turns around and is like, hey, we got to step up our game now.
The Avatar's in town, baby.
Yeah, let's accelerate our plans.
So that was our first snippet of Amon. But hey, there is one key, crucial plot point, one pivotal line of dialogue that we did not cover.
That explains everything.
That explains everything. Zuko's mom, guys.
Yeah. Jinora shows up at the South Pole talking to her grandmother, who's Katara. And she's like, I've been reading some of your adventures. What happened to Zuko's mom? And then Katara's like, oh, that's a very interesting story.
And maybe this is why I don't like Milo, because Milo immediately jumps in.
No,
it's Icky.
It's Ick, whichever.
Iggy.
Yeah.
She jumps in and just immediately starts flailing about and saying random things. So we do not get to see.
Which is the dumb thing. Is
so you told
it is icky.
Well, you told me that they wrapped that storyline up in the comics.
Yes.
Okay, and that's frustrating to me because I'm not going to go out and
I'm not going to
read
either.
the comics, just for my own personal whatever. But this show is on another level from the comics.
We should do an episode where we read the comics and explain exactly what happens.
Just for that.
Just so everyone knows.
Just so I know.
Yeah, that's true.
I've got no clue.
Yeah.
If you guys know, don't tweet us, please, because I will stab every single one of you for spoiling it for me. I want that build up and that reveal.
Because you never spoiled a single thing in your life.
No. But anyways, so they show us that they're toying with us, that they know that we want that big reveal. We want the answers. We need the answers for what happened to Zuko. Because when did Avatar stop showing?
It was 2006, I think.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then Korra started showing in 2012. That's right. So it's been 6 years since we've had Zuko. And so they remembered that. They remembered that, hey, people are curious about this very last thing we showed on the greatest show ever on Nickelodeon. And I don't know. I don't know why they toy with us like that. But anyways, all right.
Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. Let's do some trivia. Oh, yeah. That's a terrible one. Awful. Okay, that's enough. This episode is the only episode to have a different opening sequence. Yeah, okay, because it's just like Avatar.
It's just like Avatar. Katara has the first episode where she's like, is the Avatar going to come back? And the rest of it's just the same thing.
This episode, together with A Leaf in the Wind, which is the next episode, has the highest viewership of Book 1. So they started off strong and then slowly lost footing.
Well, did they, or were they like, hey, it's been 6 years since we've given you a taste of Avatar, and we're going to give you Korra,
probably.
And they released both of them at the same time on Nickelodeon as like a 1 hour event.
Okay.
So then they watched them and they're like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
We're not coming back for the rest of these.
I don't think it sucks. I really remember when I watched it the first time, I enjoyed it. And there's a couple episodes that I really enjoyed.
I got invested in the characters. I will say that. I don't think their stories are as fleshed out as Avatars. They because we get a fleshed out Zuko. We even get I think kind of a fleshed out Azula. We get Katara's story. We get Sokka's story. Like they spend time on each individual character. I think in this show,
I want to say something, but it's going to be a spoiler. So I think we need to move on.
No, okay. I'm going to continue what I'm saying. In this show, Korra, they strictly focus on Korra. And I don't feel like the characters that we've been introduced to get much.
I feel like we should save that for
time
later, though, when we actually see the show.
Okay.
The last piece of trivia: this episode was originally supposed to feature a fight scene with Amon. Man, they're just really jumping into it.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah,
though. I'm glad that Amon was this secret presence that we get. Very small rallying. He obviously has people that back him in the city. And then we get a small, visual scene from him saying something at the end of the first episode, and then nothing in the second episode.
I wish we wouldn't have got Amon until like halfway through the first season.
That'd
set everything up and then introduce him.
Okay, I can see that.
You can pepper him in earlier, but then don't like say really anything for him. And then when you do finally
give us more of the rallies and the protests.
Yeah.
And obviously give us more of people like, hey, you have a lot of backing in Republic City. So that there's I'm with you.
Yep. Okay, so let's take a quick break.
That's all the trivia.
And we'll come back for the next episode. Grab your old lady this Sunday and come down and see the next pro bending tournament between the Ember Island Eels and the Fire Ferrets.
Last week, we had the capital city cat gators take on the koala Komodo rhinos, and they laid the smackdown on them when the week before we had the harbor town hog monkeys come in.
Man, that was a shootout.
Oh, indeed it was.
So why don't you get your butts on down here and set them in the seat? Maybe buy some fire flakes. Okay, we're back with the second episode, A Leaf in the Wind, which is the second episode of the Legend of Korra, and is also the second episode of the first season of the Legend of Korra.
I just love those facts, Caleb.
Yes, thank you. Well, there's not that much trivia, so I gotta turn out the trivia whenever I can.
We'll get our own little bit of trivia here. I don't know why either there's not much trivia. That's kind of...
Yeah, well, it might just be these episodes.
Maybe.
But, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of this episode?
Oh, as soon as I get off the pro bending page, I can totally do that.
I told you to get ready because we were going to record again.
All right. Avatar Korra is now living with her airbending teacher Tenzin on Air Temple Island. Frustrated with her inability to master airbending, she turns her attention to Republic City's pro bending arena. Here, she befriends the sibling pro bending team of Mako and Bo Lin, and is immediately drawn to pro bending's dynamic fighting style.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we get some pro bending in this episode. Quite a bit of pro bending, actually. Because it starts off that Korra is being trained by Tenzin, but she is still having problems with airbending.
Yeah, she's not, because, like you said, airbending is a spiritual, but it's also like a wait and see kind of thing. Like, it's very patience-based.
Yeah.
It was created by monks. Well, it wasn't created by monks. It was perfected by monks. And obviously, we've seen her as an arrogant, cocky, headstrong kind of gal. And you're just like, man, it makes sense.
Yeah,
this one's not coming easy to her. So
her first sort of challenge is to use these old airbending tools to kind of perfect the skill. And she's not even doing any airbending right now. She's just got to be a leaf in the wind, like the episode, and kind of just float through and sort of feel the air coming off of everything to make it through this gauntlet.
Is it? My bad.
It's kind of like the.
I was going to explain what it is, but I forgot.
Yeah, I don't. It's like a. I don't even know what to call it, but there's a whole bunch of these different. It reminds me of something from Kung Fu Panda, which is probably the best comparison I can draw between that. But it's like it's all these boards that are sort of spaced out from each other, and then Tenzin airbends them, and they're all moving in different directions.
Yeah, they're all spinning.
Yeah.
No, they're vertical standing boards that spin.
And so the challenge is to sort of feel the air that's coming off of them and then react to it and just sort of move out of the way to make it through. And Korra, she's not having too good a time with that.
But we see that it is possible because he does send one of his daughters into it.
Janora, who is the most fully realized airbender at this point.
Yeah, and she's my favorite of the three because I hate Milo and Ikki is bland to me. But Janora's cool. So it's clearly possible that it's, to finish. And Korra just immediately goes, he even sends a leaf into it, and the leaf flies through. It's just an example, philosophical example.
Yeah, it's like this is what you should be like. Be like the leaf.
Yes.
Be the leaf.
Be a leaf.
See the leaf.
In the wind.
Be the leaf.
That's
what he said. That's a direct quote from the show, actually.
Is it really?
Yes.
It's weird. God bless
J.K.
Simmons.
Korra, she's headstrong, and she is she's mastered water bending and fire bending and earth bending is what I'm trying to say. But she is very much shoot first, ask questions later, sort of that mentality where she's just like, I don't need to react to things. I can just run in there and do it on my own. You okay there, Harley?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got something in my eye. So she dives right into this thing and doesn't get it. And I think she destroys it immediately, doesn't she?
No, that's later on in the episode.
Oh, okay.
So thanks for the spoilers.
It's fine. We're going to dive into it later. I don't think it's spoilers if we cover the whole episode in this episode.
So they stop with that for a little bit and then try just meditating, which she doesn't have a good time with either. So she came to learn airbending, but she's not really picking anything up. So she's feeling frustrated.
Understandably so. So she escapes. She runs away from the place she ran away to. And she goes to Republic City to the Pro Bending Arena. And that is where she meets...
How'd she find out about the Pro Bending Arena? I don't remember.
No.
I think she runs into Bolin, doesn't she? Is she looking
Like, how
for
did she
somewhere
get
to
in there, though?
I think she's looking for somewhere to train,
Yeah.
maybe. And she runs across this gym, and Bolin's waiting there.
Bolin is in there.
And he is an earthbender and a probender.
Yes. So that's pretty cool. Like, and I don't. Yeah. What's he doing? He just hanging out.
I don't.
But
Probably.
he starts flirting with her and whatnot, and he just does what Bolin does, and that's basically his character
Yeah.
development.
And I like Bolin as a character.
I don't dislike him at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, I enjoy these characters. But then he introduces us to Mako and Hasuk, which is an irrelevant character. But
I don't remember his name.
and that makes up the Fire Ferrets, the team that she had just she heard him on the radio.
Oh,
She
yeah,
had
yeah.
just
she went
recently
down.
heard Mako's win as a Fire Ferret the night before on a pro bending fight. So do they pro bend games every single night or something?
Probably. I don't know.
That has to be
It's
exhausting.
probably more of like an amateur, like not what we think of as pro. Like if you took pro football in the 20s, it's a completely different thing.
Oh, for sure.
Than it is now. So that's probably what this is kind of like.
But every night, that's got to be exhausting.
Oh yeah, probably.
So
The matches are pretty short though.
yes, that's true. So we get introduced to Bolin in the second episode, who is a key character, and then we get introduced to Mako through Bolin.
He doesn't say much.
No, and then we immediately watch the Fire Ferrets go into a fight, and Mako's kind of a jerk. He immediately just neglects Korra and says, "Hey, listen, I don't care about anything you have to say. Leave me alone. I'm here to win this match." And so Mako and Bolin are brothers,
Yes.
and this goes back to the genetics of Mako, of like the thing I was saying with Katara earlier, having kids that could possibly be benders, and with Tenzin having airbenders.
And could be airbenders or waterbenders.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, yeah, I want to get back to that in a minute. But so Mako is a firebender and Bolin's an earthbender. I'm curious what their lineage is, like how that worked out. Like,
It's probably just a parent was a
I just think
firebender.
that's how
It has to be, right?
that would make sense, wouldn't it? Or,
Yeah.
Or one of them's adopted. I don't know.
It's just like a genetic trait like anything else. I don't think they're adopted, but I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But anyways, so yeah, that's cool. What would happen if like I don't know how I want to word this.
Like if the firebending son of a earthbender and a firebender had kids with an airbender, could they be possibly one of the three?
That's a unique question, yes. But my question is, could you have both like aggressive traits like firebending and waterbending, and could they cancel each other out and not make you a bender at all? Or could
you can be a non-bender. I don't know if they're necessarily canceling each other out.
create some kind of like sub-bending between the two, and that's your bending element, or like
Probably not.
because there's a lot of sub-bending. I was looking at a chart the other day, and there's a lot of sub-bending off it. Like we got it from in Avatar. We got
Spoilers?
Swamp. No, we got
Is swamp bending sub-bending? I think it's just water bending.
It was in that chart, so I think so.
I wouldn't. That's just water bending in a swamp. It's not like.
But you're taking control of like the leaves, like something like
the water in the leaves. It's like is blood. I mean, technically, blood bending is a.
blood bending. Okay, so we'll go blood.
But is it really
blood-
a sub bending? I wouldn't even say it's a sub bending.
I would.
I don't think so.
It's considered a sub bending in the fan base.
I think it's a little different.
Oh, take that.
Well, I don't care about them.
But metal bending would be a sub bending, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't argue with me on that one.
No, that one makes sense.
Blood bending. So like, could
Water
you
and water.
create like as diversity becomes a thing through benders, like other benders marry other benders, like opposing bendings. Could that create different benders
We really need to move on
in
from
the
this
longer?
because
It's just interesting.
yes, I know, but I have something that I want to say that I will say to you off mic that could be a very good explanation for some things in the show. So let's go ahead and move on.
So yeah, we have this bending match, and it's your basic fictitious sport. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
but it's obviously it cherry picks from other sports. Like I want to compare it basically to dodgeball.
I think it's more like it's like boxing. They're drawing on the parallel of how how popular boxing was, and like you see like even like the gym they go to, that's very reminiscent.
Yeah,
or reminiscent, and then the ropes on the side of the court.
I can see that. Like
I think that's what they're pulling from. But it's a lot like dodgeball too.
maybe there's there's just a weird dodgeball
And
boxer hybrid thing.
They call it a knockout too. So that's probably I'd say that's what they're playing off of.
So they are pulling heavily on the. I wouldn't call it nostalgic feel because nobody's really alive from the 20s.
Yeah, no. But what you think of like boxing? in that
your
era.
stereotypical 20s boxing. Okay, so that's cool. I can see that. But yeah, so you have three people on a team, And there's obviously rules to how aggressive you can be with your bending, but you have an earthbender and you have a waterbender and you have a firebender because obviously airbending is not prominent. There's 4 airbenders in the
Just
world.
wait though; they'll be bringing them in
What?
when Janora grows up. She's going to be a pro bender.
Oh yeah, that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Jordas whoops their butts. But anyway, so you have 3 on each side, and there's certain sections in the arena. If you step back into a certain section or you get knocked back into a section, the other team can advance.
And you have to stay back there.
And you have to stay back in that section. And if you get knocked off into the water, the other team gets a point. So if all 3 of your teammates get knocked into the water, that's 3 points. A point for each person into the water.
It'd be a pretty cool game of dodgeball.
It would be.
You could do that. You could totally do that.
Like
pretty easily.
American Gladiator meets dodgeball.
Yeah,
If you guys remember what that is.
that'd be pretty cool.
Probably not too young for this.
But yeah, it's a pretty cool sport as well as or as much as fictitious sports can be. Like there's Quidditch like up there at the top, and then this one it's down a little bit, but it's still pretty good.
I feel like if you're gonna try to do either one of them though, it's more logical to actually try pro bending. Than
Yeah,
Quidditch.
but there are a lot more like real life
Quidditch
Quidditch
would be
players
cool.
than you would like to think.
How is Quidditch playable though?
They put brooms between their legs and run around. Yep, it's as dumb as you think it is.
Well, when jetpacks become a thing.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be really cool.
Oh my lord.
But yeah, let's go. Whenever jetpacks come out, let's go play Quidditch. But yeah, I think that they did a pretty good job at creating this sport.
Yeah, they put a lot of thought into it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, and there's actually a huge list of rules.
Which maybe we'll do an entire episode on the rules of pro bending.
If you guys want that, tweet us and say, "Hey, we want that." If you don't, we don't care. We might still do it. You're not the bosses of us.
Yeah, this is my podcast, not yours.
So take that. But yeah, so we get a good version of how good Mako is. This is really just a testament to how good Mako is at pro bending. Bolin is usually he's just the talker, more bark than bite. Hasuk is completely irrelevant to the whole show.
He's terrible.
He's terrible.
He's awful.
And so
And he's got a bad name. Get a better name.
Immediately gets knocked off into the water. Hasuk. So the red team or no, the blue team gets a point. And then it's Mako.
The not fire ferrets.
Fire ferrets.
Which are Mako and Bolin's team.
Yes.
And Hasuk's, I guess.
Yes, and so Bolin gets knocked back to this, a couple lines, and then Mako gets knocked back a couple lines, and it's dramatic tension. You're like, oh my gosh, who's gonna win? And for some reason you're invested in this show already. Like they're doing really well to invest you in just this small dynamic of the show, this arena.
And I think this second episode hits better because it's not as jarring as the first episode, where it's just like, well, and especially for us because we just finished Avatar, and now we're jumping right into Korra.
Yeah, we didn't wait 6 years.
Yeah, so this has it's. I think they got the feel what they were going for down in this episode, and it's not like a transition anymore.
Yeah, like they put themselves on track, and they're like, let's trek forward. So then you have Bolin. I don't think Bolin gets knocked. Does Bolin get knocked off?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, because
Mako's the only one left
so,
in that little circle at the end.
Yes. So Bolin gets knocked off. So now the blue team has 2 points. One more point and they win. Knock Mako off, you're done. Mako shows how prominent his bending is just by firebending alone. And he knocks
Zuko alone.
And Mako knocks all 3 of this opposing team into the water. 3 points for fire ferrets. That's a win.
And he does it like he knocks 2 of them off, right? And then something happens. He gets to move up, or the other person is moved back though at the end, and then he jumps really far.
This is what
really far.
This is what we debated yesterday.
And this is what I did not want to talk about
with
on
the
podcast.
rules. There's like 6 sections. There's 3 sections on each side, and if you move up, if you move your opposing teammate back 1 line, your team
all
gets to move
all of your
team gets to move up. Yeah, okay. If you move back the remainder of a team.
Yeah, because I think what
line.
it is, if one person on a team moves back, they have to stay back there.
Yes,
and it's not until the other people move back that the other opposing team gets to move up.
Yes, you have to have everyone.
Which that's why it's a cool rule, because then you can, if you have like 2 people left on each side, you can move them back. They can move up. Mm-hmm. It's pretty mobile.
It's pretty neat. But so Mako is knocked back to the very edge of the arena. He's about to get knocked off, and then he knocks off 2 of the other team into the water. So now it's him versus this guy, and the guy is, I think they start out 2 sections away from each other, 1 or 2. And so he's almost right on the line with Mako, and they're like almost toe-to-toe, bending at each other.
Yeah.
And then Mako knocks the guy back to the very last ring. So that means Mako gets to go from his side to the opposing side's almost second to last ring, I think. And then he jumps over and lands right in front of the ring and knocks the guy into the water. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see how powerful he is as a bender. You get to see how good he is at the martial arts aspect of bending. And how powerful he is as a character. And it's really cool. And then they come back to meet Korra, and it's Hasuk, Bolin, and Mako. And Mako's aggravated at Hasuk.
Yeah, he's very angry.
Being
He's like,
a piece of crap.
You almost lost us the game, and Hasuk's like, "Oh, we won, didn't we?"
Yeah,
It's like, get out of here.
No
Hasuk.
thanks to you, Hasuk.
Yeah, so they kill Hasuk.
So they murder him immediately. So Hasuk's dead, and nonchalant. And then Korra starts saying things.
She's like, okay, so Korra, we see that she's very impressed with Mako first, right off the bat. She's like, "Oh, this dude is cool."
She kind of has a
Spoilers, but so
a thing,
and then she's also impressed, like
a crush.
she-
I would say a crush, like a celebrity
Yeah.
crush.
So, and also she's never seen anyone else. She's lived by herself.
She's never
That's
seen
basically
another man.
Yes, that's not like very much older than her.
No.
But so she
Tenzin?
Oh, well, yeah, Tenzin's older
She
than
has
her.
a crush on Tenzin.
Oh yeah, but but you did bring up like Anakin and Padme, obviously. But anyway, yeah. So Korra is also, and I think to a fault, very impressed with their style of bending. I don't feel like it's that different from regular bending, but she's like freaking out, like, you need to teach me how to do this right now.
I think because it's so fast paced and aggressive, the word that the Wikipedia uses is dynamic.
And they're not like actually like fighting too. It's a sort of a different thing.
No, it's not a life or death thing. Like it's pulling your punches. It's sparring is what it is. So if you compare sparring to an actual,
Well, it's not really sparring because they're going full out.
Well,
but I think that it's like
you're set with limitations though.
Yeah,
Because like I said, in those rules,
there's rules.
Yeah, like I said, in those
that
rules
we see Korra doesn't really know about.
No, but those rules that I was trying to read to you earlier, there you can only like have your water bending last for like a second.
Oh, really?
Like there's a certain, which is
they should have explained that.
We're gonna dive into the rules later on
Yeah.
into the show sometime. But each water blast cannot exceed 1 second in duration, which gets written from the Wikipedia, which Wikipedia is reliable. High school kids, take that. But yeah, so obviously there's limitations set to pro bending. So I don't understand why, in comparison, she's awed and inspired.
She's like,
by
this is the
these-
best thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy because we saw her training with these other, I think, what they're firebender benders.
Yeah, we did see a firebender.
Yeah, other benders in the first episode, and she was all out, ready to murder these guys. Yeah, they were just training, but still, it was intense, it was impactful, and it was decent choreography for the most part. But this is, in my opinion, comparatively, it's bland compared to. I already said that to Korra and Korra's training. So I don't get why she's so awestricken.
Maybe it's
by
just because
this.
she's just never seen people do this.
Just
That's the only thing I can
the
chalk it up
fast-paced
to.
for sport kind of bending. Maybe I can see that.
She also says that, like, earlier on, or in the first episode, when she's talking to that guy about Amon, she's like, "No, bending's the coolest thing in the world." So she's like a bending fan already because she's been doing it for however. So she's like, "Oh, you can do this with bending too. It's not just for fighting people."
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
I do kind of like this stuff though. So far as it is, so she's been neglecting her studies because she's obsessed with pro bending, and I think she's sneaking out at night and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So we do see her at a gym, and Bolin is training her.
Well, there's the scene I think before that with she's with Ikki and Milo and Jinora. It is Ikki, Ikky.
Yeah.
Milo and Jinora and Tenzin, and they're all sitting across from Tenzin and they're meditating. And Milo's sacked out; he's asleep. That's just, I don't know. I don't like Milo. I wish he would just die.
Oh wow, strong words.
I don't care. But I do like the progression in this show, though. It's much longer than a few months, like age progression, I should say.
Yeah.
But anyways, off topic. So she actually leaves the meditation because she gets so fed up with it. So she abandons her meditation in front of Tenzin, and then she goes back to the pro bending arena. She's already been introduced to the pro bending arena. It's her home away from home now. Like it's something to escape to. It's new. It's fresh. She has butterflies in her stomach because of it, and she wants to go there and get that excitement, that adrenaline rush from pro bending.
But tonight, the Fire Ferrets are without Hasuk. He is a no-show
because they murdered him.
Yes.
They're just like,
brutally.
oh no, Hoosuk's gone. That's strange, right?
So Korra sees this as her opportunity to jump into the world of pro bending and become a waterbender for them.
And we immediately get, they immediately establish Korra as an amateur because she has no idea what's going on. Again, one day before that, she was just introduced to pro bending.
Well, I guess, okay, so before she actually goes to pro bending, we see her having struggles, and she does destroy that training thing or whatever it is, because she sees like pro bending. She's like, I want to do that. I don't want to do this stupid air bending stuff. And then she demolishes that thing with fire, the gauntlet or whatever.
Yeah, the thing that I was talking about earlier, that spinning wood planks.
2,000-year-old airbender artifact that she just destroys.
J.K. Simmons is always a winner.
But then, yeah, she gets her opportunity to actually get into pro bending, and so she takes that opportunity.
And I didn't like the way it was spelled out. Though the execution of it was poor to me. But I do understand that the more aggressive fighting style for her is her way of learning.
Yeah,
she was obviously very aggressive in training, and when her first introduction as a child, she was very aggressive. So I can see that.
Yeah, she's totally aggressive.
It's understandable. I'm making sense of it more as this podcast is going to make me like this show, and I'm not okay with that.
Way more aggressive than Aang.
Yes, obviously it's not her. Anyway, okay, whatever. All right. So they're back. We're back to the
pro bending.
Pro bending circuit.
And she's not doing too well, and it's pretty because she's only allowed to water bend. That's what she sets up. She's like, it's okay if I only water bend, right?
And nobody else knows that she's the Avatar.
Until she finds out quickly she's out of her league, and she starts using other elements alongside of water bending. And everyone's like, what?
Penalty?
How many people there didn't see the press conference that she did last episode and are like, oh, wait. Oh, I guess she does have like a helmet, a poorly fitting helmet and stuff on.
Yeah.
But you still, come on.
But right before that, before she does go on stage or on the arena, Mako, again, was still being a jerk to her. And she says something about bending different elements, multiple elements. And Mako simply goes, you're the Avatar. And I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he immediately feels foolish for not recognizing that she's the Avatar. So,
because she did a live press conference on TV.
Yes. So, yes, he's an idiot. But Mako's still pretty cool. So, they go in. She takes Hoosuk's clothes or sparring
uniform
equipment, whatever. And they go out there and they play their thing. And she immediately starts getting her butt kicked.
Yeah, because she's never done this before.
And the opposing team recognizes that she's the amateur and immediately just go for her directly.
Well, I think like the first thing she does is hit a guy with water bending, but knocks him over the side, which you can't do.
Yes,
you got to knock him off the back.
Off the backs.
So yeah, they immediately they're like, okay, we're gonna exploit this weakness because even though she's the Avatar and they know that at this point, she's still terrible at this game.
Like in a real life or death fight, she'd win.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee.
No
it.
doubt.
They're just their amateur pro bending team, but she would murder them.
But see, that's another problem I had with it because she knows how to fight. She's fought earthbenders. She's fought waterbenders. She's fought firebenders. She can't like get out of the way of like somebody throwing rocks at her.
Yeah, it's
just
on a limited level. Like it's very amateur compared to what she's been taught. So I'm with you. Yeah. I don't know why she should not be being pushed back.
No, I don't get that at all.
Like she was jumping.
I get where she wouldn't be good at the game.
Yeah,
but not like she's gonna get destroyed.
Not like the worst player of all times that you've seen. Like there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way.
She's been training literally her entire life in this.
Like there was, yeah, we're gonna oppose this for a second. There was at her introduction as a child as the Avatar. There's this cool little snippet where she jumps up on the earth and then she creates fire and then she creates water or she pulls water right after that and
she
then
puts out the fire.
Extinguishes her fire.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. Like it's cool choreography.
And she already knows how to do that without having been taught.
Years ago. Oh my lord!
Without being taught,
so I don't know why she's not good. It's not. It's poorly executed. I don't know why she's not good at.
Like they should have just made it where she wasn't good at the game and got disqualified because she didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
Rather than just being demolished.
Yeah.
But they are setting up the reveal for the end of the episode,
which I guess I don't remember.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing over and over again. Korra's not doing well. She gets knocked off one time, and then Tenzin shows up. And he's like, why? Because he heard them announce that she was the Avatar on the radio.
Yeah,
And he's
because
like,
we see the Lotus,
the locust.
Yeah, White Lotus lackeys are just listening to the radio.
Yeah.
And he's like, they hear that, oh no, she's the Avatar because she bends multiple elements.
And Tenzin's like, are you kidding me?
So he goes over there to see what's what.
Yeah, so he shows up and he's pretty mad at her, and she's like, no, I'm going to do this. You can't stop me.
And the reason why they're conversing during the tournament is, or the circuit, because she got knocked off into the water.
Yeah, yeah.
So the opposing team already has a point.
Yeah, so she gets back up, and she's still doing poorly. But at one point, she gets knocked back to like the very edge of the ring, and the other people are focused on Mako and Bolin. Or I think there's a waterbender that's like keeping them on the side so where they can't move off. Mm-hmm. And Korra is back there, and she saw earlier in one of Mako's game that he tired the other people out with, and that's kind of how he was able to get the upper hand.
Which doesn't make sense to me, because if your waterbending is only going to last like 1 second,
yeah,
then how is it exhausting?
I don't know.
But
yeah, so Korra,
poor training.
She's trying to dodge all this stuff, and she's not having any luck. But then she goes and does the airbending technique that she was supposed to learn with the contraption from earlier. But she finally puts it. It's actually got some application. So she puts it to use.
It did feel forced the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
It feels still a little forced.
I understand it, though.
Yeah, it's necessary to see her develop.
But another weird thing. So Tenzin sees this, obviously. He's like, oh, this is how she's going to learn. I need to let her do this.
Yeah, like this dynamic sort of fighting is her fighting style. Like,
yes.
Action up front, kicking butt. Not on the defensive, which is probably what he learned from a first-hand basis from Avatar Aang, because that was Avatar Aang's fighting style. So it's the exact opposite of how Korra learns.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
He's like, okay, so this is the environment. I'm going to need to nurture this rather than not being patient as I've told her to be.
So that gives us a good idea of how wise Tenzin is as a character too.
Uh-huh.
So then we can hold Tenzin to a higher standard.
A higher standard. Yeah.
Than most.
Yeah, because we need to judge all these characters.
They will all be judged in the end.
Yeah, so how does this episode end?
I'm not sure. Korra. Oh yeah, Korra. They win Korra wins the tournament for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the tournament.
Well, she fight. So she tires the other people out, which I had a problem with because she's like doing that for like maybe 10 seconds, and she's like moving out of the way, and then the guy's like throwing his water and just falls down to the floor.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't like that.
When have we ever seen that there are limitations put on like we've seen people tired before? They were still able to like perform.
Yeah,
that is a life or death thing. So maybe it's a little bit different.
Like your adrenaline's pumping, a lot of I get that, but this is just like lazy bending almost. Like you've either had very poor training or you're just not good at bending because you haven't. Like it reminds me of the guy who walked those kids or walked Aang and Katara through the passage. Like he couldn't bend after his arms were broken. Yeah. And we've seen people bend with their legs.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I don't know where you draw the line at right there.
I don't know.
So the episode actually ends. We get to see Mako looking out at the Air Temple Island, and then we get to see Korra staring back at the pro bending like arena
longingly.
Yes, I'm very reminiscent of The Great Gatsby,
minus the green light.
Yes, and plus bending and stuff like that. But other than that,
plus magic.
Other than that, it's pretty one for one.
No Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, I mean, not My Great Gatsby.
Oh shoot, you like the Robert Redford one?
Well, yeah, it's definitely a better movie.
That's fair.
Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this episode, and we've concluded our 2 episodes.
Well, I mean, you haven't read trivia yet.
No.
Why don't you just dive into trivia?
Yeah, okay, so we got a little bit of trivia here. This episode, together with Welcome to Republic City, has the highest viewership of Book 1. That's pretty interesting.
That is an interesting fact.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know.
I'm glad we haven't learned that yet.
Yeah, so with that, I think that's going to do it for us here, right? You got anything else to add, Harley?
No, that will wrap up the second episode of Korra and the first episode of us back
at it. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you like Korra, you can send us an email. If you don't like Korra and you want to give us thoughts, give us an email at boysintheiceberg@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter @boysintheberg.
Get at us.
Yeah. So yeah, just give us your thoughts. Probably going to have a little bit more in favor of not Korra. But we'd like to hear from you regardless. And with that, we'll see you here next week.